Sorry about that. Okay, you're ready. All right, I will call this meeting of the Water Commission to order here September 15th, 2022. So let me note that I guess I'll read this note at the top. Until further notice, the Corporation of Harpers Ferry governing and deliberative bodies will hold its meetings and hearings virtually via a Zoom webinar, which provides for public participation during a public comment period and posted on the agenda. Alternately, the public can view YouTube video or live stream. And these options comply with the West Virginia Open Governmental Meetings Act. All right, so I will call this meeting to order, and present is myself, Laurel Drake, and Commissioner Donnie Hampshire. I guess we have the first thing is approval of the agenda. We sort of barely have a quorum here, but we do 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Do you want to make a motion to approve the agenda?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that. All in favor? All right, we will proceed. Just in remarks, I will just remark that we had a member who left because he doesn't reside in the town, in the water district, and in order to be on the water commission, you have to reside in the water district, and he does not anymore, so he is no longer a part of the group, but we wish him well and thank him for his service. That would be David Gilligan. The minutes, I have to say, we'll have to postpone that to next time. And we just have, because I need to send that out. And water clerk report, I think we are not, Angie is not here today. So let's go ahead, Chris Dyer, would you like to give your report?
Sure. I didn't see the agenda. Hold on. I was looking for it, but
probably my fault.
that's okay. I thought maybe I missed it. But I was looking through my emails. Just briefly, we've been really looking for leaks. Not even saying that that's the issue. So right now we're actually at a water loss at 22.39%. We're working on a situation which you guys voted on recently, and that's to increase the water flow into the raw water intakes, and I believe by increasing it by 50 gallons per minute will help us out tremendously. So until we have that resolved, which should be in the next couple of weeks, I talked to Alvarez's crew and they said it should be in the next 2 weeks. We should be that job should be completed. The other thing is the sensor that measures the water level for the said basin is in. And next week, Jim from Paul is going to install it, and what that does is basically it ties in the whole package. Like it because the sensor from the level of the water that's coming in at the intakes is going to now be regulated. It's going to tell the pumps at the wet well to slow down or speed up, in order to maintain the proper level. The skids or the membrane systems, there's A and B, will slow down and speed up according to the level the sensor is monitoring. It's pretty neat. It's just this one instrument pretty much controls the show, and so from there, it's going to monitor how much water that we put out to the tanks. So if we're putting 350 gallons a minute is coming out of the wet well, then we'll be putting out 350 gallons out to the tanks. And then from there, which should be really shortly, we'll have the telemetry system, and we'll be able to monitor the tank levels at the same time. And I believe from there, the tank levels will also determine how fast we will be, the gallons per minute that we will be producing to fill the demand for the day. So it's going to get pretty interesting. If that made sense, did everybody understand that?
That makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I just find it fascinating. It just, everything is just so monitored now, and all the flow and the gallons of sludge that I'm producing is now monitored. And the other thing is my turbidity is monitored in 3 different places. Turbidity is what measures the particles of dirt in the water per million. So the raw water that comes into the SED basin is measured, and what's important about that is when I have heavy rains and I need to determine how much coagulant that I need to put in, I can really fine tune it now, because I'll be able to see how dirty my water actually is, and how much chlorine I need to increase it by, and how much coagulant and how much permanganate I may need to add. But what's neat about it is just because I have 3 sensors that are, well, actually I have 5 sensors that monitor turbidity. There's 2 others that are on each of the membrane systems as well. So by having all this data, you're just able to really fine tune this PAL system. And we're having another class. Everybody's invited. Did everybody receive that, right? I got that out to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this Wednesday, I recommend everybody going, including you, Deb, if you have time.
There's another training by the PAL representative. Was that also addressed to you guys? I'm not sure.
I think so.
Okay,
I think I remember.
so that's Wednesday, 12 to 5.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah. So, I'm looking forward to that. And again, tomorrow, the tie-in with the elk run. We finally got this done, thanks to all the hard work. Deb, I really appreciate everything you've done to get us here. I got a lot of juggling I got to do, to like the boiling water notice, and then they also have pumps that you got to worry about. So you don't want to dry out the customer's pumps, so they have to be turned off during this time, and then they have to be notified to turn their pumps on, but to keep boiling the water until I get another test, and find out the results of that. And I should have that on Saturday, so I'll come back Saturday too, and I will hand deliver the notices out to all the customers, which is 18 homes up on Prospect.
Okay.
And then we should be done with that project. And I think that's it. We're fixing leaks. We've been working on yard work too and cleaning up. I'm also looking for a blacktop person to clean up our places. Like, for example, we have a place that needs to be done on Day Street and up on Church Street and Harper's Ferry, and there's probably about 12 different spots. So I met somebody that I'm going to have come in for a quote and see how much he's going to cost us, and also Bolivar has somebody as well that they that I just recently talked to Laura over there, who's the secretary, and she told me about their people. So I'm going to try to get 2 quotes on this and knock out this asphalt. So that's it. Anyway, I'm done.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Our next water progress meeting is going to be this coming Thursday, which will be next Thursday.
Oh my God. Already?
And then we have financials.
Hey, could you point the microphone towards Debbie?
Very good.
Good evening. So this water budget is for the close of July 2022. So that's the first month in the fiscal 2023. So that will equal 8% of the year so far. The budgeted amounts that you see do reflect revision 1, but not revision 2 for the water fund. So it doesn't include the changes that we made to accommodate change order number 2 in the water treatment project. The revenue received in July represents about 10% of, 8% overall, and our water billings are about 10%. So that's good, and it's also not unusual. And because where the expenses are about 7%. So that's, there are a lot of invoices in July and August.
Deb, I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
There are a lot of invoices in.
Is that better, Chris?
Yes.
Okay.
In July and August, and August is not included on the report, that have to do with chemicals purchased for the plant. I met with Chris about these. As you might expect, many of these purchases represent initial purchases for the entire inventory required to operate the new plant. So Chris expects additional purchases of about $4,000 in September, and at that point we should have a good inventory of chemicals to hold steady for about 6 months. And during that time, then he will have the opportunity to start to project an annual usage cycle, and we'll probably have to make some adjustments to the budget to finish out the year. But there's a lot of additional chemicals that were associated with getting the filters going and cleaned initially, et cetera. So it is a little bit of an unusual pace for us there. Any questions regarding anything else on the financials?
The chemicals should level out. I think I got everything that we need, and we'll be able to get a good handle on that.
Is that all? Okay. That was short.
So the next thing I have on here is the water distribution system planning options.
Yeah, do you have anything to add on that?
I do. Things were fast and furious last week. We had, Tandy can remember if we've been able to update you that the.
I think you have not. I think not official.
Yeah. It's really been moving.
So
The congressionally directed spending earmark application that we put in with Shelley Moore Capito's office, Senator Capito, was declined. Interestingly enough, I learned this morning, they made an announcement on the radio that EPA, which is the organization through which we made our application, awarded to the state of West Virginia $18 million through earmarks with Capito Management. So they're doing a lot of projects, but I'm going to say they're relatively small because ours was 9.6. And so if they only gave 18 million to the state, it's probably one of the reasons that they turned ours down.
Would you say that again about the 9.2?
Well, ours was valued at 9.6 million.
Okay,
And so what I heard this morning on the radio was that the EPA awarded through congressional directed spending to various municipalities and water utilities in the state $18 million worth of water projects. So what I'm saying is, if they were going to give 18 million, ours would have been half that. So,
but they could have also picked part of ours, right? I mean, did we?
well, that was our understanding, but you know,
They didn't have to.
like walking in a cloud. You know, I mean, that's what the advice was that we got, and I personally talked to the person who's organizing the CDS earmarks.
Where Senator Capito's office, and I asked, I said, is this too big of a project? She said, oh, absolutely not. We gave, you know, I don't know, 30 million to Weirton last year. So
Wow.
nobody said, you know, everybody said, go for it. So anyway, regardless, this is where we are now. That has been denied. So that being the case, the next step is that we had thought we would need a 20% match to that, and we were going to go to the WDA for the match because we had been told that this was the once in a lifetime opportunity that we could actually take federal funds and match them to federal funds. However, within the last 2 or 3 weeks, we learned that that is actually not the case, and they aren't going to let anybody do that. So good thing we didn't need it. But then the other thing that happened was that we said, okay, well, we still do have the WDA who's getting all this ARPA money and is turning it into water projects in the state of West Virginia. And so we wanted to apply for that just as a regular water project. So under the direction of Region 9, we got together our data on that. We had Chris Eckenrode and his group at GDNF update the PER officially so that we could turn it into the IJDC and have them look at it for technical review. They did that. We also decided, the mayor and I had a conversation with Marie, the director of the WDA, Marie Prezioso, who also helped us understand a little bit, but also about things that they were looking for, which with respect to matching funds wasn't necessarily that we needed to have a cash match, but they were very interested in what local investment we were going to have with regard to specifically ARPA money that would be used to help this project along. So thank goodness we used our ARPA money to strip out part of the project and reduce the cost of it by financing the Elks Run, which Chris just talked about. Unfortunately, at least I'll say unfortunately right now, you know, the mayor also made a submission to the county for a portion of their ARPA money. And he and I went to speak. He spoke in front of the commission, again, requesting and reducing our request to a portion of what they had left. And Director Prezioso asked us specifically, well, you know, is the county going to give you any of their ARPA money? No, we had just been there and hadn't heard anything. So we sent another email to them, impressing upon them how important it was that they give consideration to this, because this would look good to the funding match for this ARPA situation. So anyway, we don't know about that. However, we thought we would wait until October for our submission because of the things that we were learning from Director Prezioso. And we had a meeting set with Region 9 last Thursday, and on Wednesday night, someone at Region 9 got an indication that we should reset our goal to 5 million. And that's what we've done. And so we actually got the PER submitted after a meeting on Thursday morning over Thursday and into Friday. In 24 hours, that whole thing got done and submitted with a project cost of about $5 million.
And who is that submitted to?
The IJDC. And so what happens now is the IJDC is going to look at the project for its feasibility, its technical, whatever, to make sure that the costs line up, et cetera, et cetera. And then once they approve it, which there's a meeting at the end of, their meeting will be the end of October. And then after that, we make a submission to the WDA for the grant. So again, I'm still learning about the steps. Every time I turn around, I hear something new about what we thought we knew is different and
So
No,
we'll have to, we'll have-
changing and moving, but we do, it's not $9 million. It's not the whole project. We are still gonna have to find other ways to fund the parts of the project that haven't been funded, but, or aren't in this program, assuming we get the funding for it. But having this funding as grant money is the gift that we certainly can't ignore, and no matter what, we'll be better off than we are today if we get it. So,
I agree.
that happened at the speed of light last week. It was really, and GDNF and Cox Holiday really worked hard and fast. Everything turned around on a dime, and they really worked hard for us to make it happen. So, and Region 9 too.
5 million will do a lot of good. I mean, at least we'll be able to get half the projects done, you know, which,
Well, we have to work on funding part at a time. We just have to accept that. Get part done and then look for funding for the next part. But
Right.
we still intend to get it all done.
Absolutely. And, as time goes on and things evolve, so, if we focus on some of the, if we can get this funding and we get part of the project done, maybe by the time we get that done, the Hilltop will be going and we'll have more income, which would allow us to afford to do more, or allow us to afford to get a loan to do more of it. So there's hope on the horizon. We just have to, as you said, take it one piece at a time.
What is the IJDC? Well, you don't have to tell me what it stands for.
It's
Just what
the-
is it?
It's the review board that looks at your project to see if it's technically feasible, if it's been engineered well, if the cost that you have associated with it makes sense.
Is
yada,
that
yada.
federal or state?
It's the state board. Yeah.
Oh.
It's a state board.
So it has to go through that board in order to then submit it to any other state agency so that they sort of approve of it?
Yeah, they have to approve it as a project. That it's technically sound and that we don't need with the funding, funding it the way that we're proposing to fund it with a grant. And that we would need a rate increase and all that kind of stuff. They're checking all those boxes. Once they say, okay, this all makes sense, then we can take that package and we can go to a funding source, WDA, and say, we'd like to apply for a grant now with this project that has been approved by the IJDC. And our project has already been approved by the IJDC. They've already seen it all before. So the technical aspect of it is really a shoo-in. I mean, it is shovel ready. So
Yeah.
it's really just a matter of them re-blessing it.
Well, they saw.
good job, man. Way to come back. No, I was just gonna say, way to regroup and come back and what an excellent idea to go for 5 million. And you're right, we can get this one piece at a time.
So they've already seen the project for 9 million and they approved that, right?
Well, no, so they saw the entire project as one half of the project.
That they looked at 10 years ago
Yeah.
with the water treatment plant.
Mhm.
They have not looked at it. They are looking, what they have in front of them is the entire distribution side of the project. Inside of there, inside of the package, they are aware that the whole thing is $9 million, but that we're applying for 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. Thank you so much. I hope that just, we just gotta go forward.
We gotta just
Right?
keep our eyes on whatever ball is in front of us.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah.
Financials. Okay, lead and copper survey. Mac, okay, Mac, do you want to talk about what we were doing last night for the lead and copper?
Well, we were delivering something for a minute or two.
I'll put the mic towards you. Did you put the mic towards you?
It's between the three of us now. But we'll try
Okay.
to,
There you go.
yeah, Mac and I went out and delivered empty bottles for people to, and we have gotten back 14 bottles. So I'm still working on the other 6. Right, and they'll all be ready for you on Tuesday, Chris, for you to take it
Yeah.
to.
That's one nice thing about this sample is that you're able to, they can take their time with it, you know?
Yeah, it is. Okay, and the next one is service line inventory. So, actually, I have some good news about this. I got a call yesterday or the day before from the rural, or it's called RCAP, Rural Community Assistance Program, which is a state agency or assists the state. We have a representative from there who is assigned to Harpers Ferry Waterworks and will help us with our service inventory. And he suggested that we meet. He's going to drive up from, he lives near Charleston. He's going to drive up and meet us and talk about the entire thing. I think that they will help us set up the database and put in the data. But of course, we have to supply the data. The data comes from those surveys that we need to get back. We've gotten about 300 out of our 800. And since they work with a lot of small utilities, they are going to have suggestions for us for how to do this. However, I still think that with 800 to check, well, it won't be 800 to check because any house built after some year, I wrote it down, 2000 something, we can eliminate them because their plumbing materials are not expected to have any lead in them, right? Of course, we don't think we have any lead anywhere in our system.
That's
Right.
right.
Right, we don't, but we have to verify it. So anyway, the point is that out of the ones we do have to check in some way, they will be able to help us give suggestions and mention something about you have to, what the latest thing that came down from the state was you have to look at, on the customer side, what type of pipe is it at the meter? What type of pipe is it when it comes into the house? And at one other location in between. Now that would be a very tough thing to do if we had to dig up and look at the pipe somewhere in between, right? But anyhow, I just don't know if that will just keep holding through. That was verbal, and I think we need to get the written instructions. So, but I'm just mentioning to you that he said that. Anyway, that meeting will be somewhere the first week of October. And I will check with all of you so hopefully you guys can come to that meeting and he'll just help us have a plan for it. Because we do have to turn in something in December. Which is our preliminary survey. So that does not, of course, doesn't have to be finished, but it shows that we're working on it. So we have to turn that into the state. But then we have until October of 2024 to actually finish it.
Years away. Unfortunately not.
So, there, of course, there is this offer from 120 Water that we discussed, I think, 2 months ago to do the survey, service line inventory. And I did not include it as an attachment. I should have sent it out again. But do you recall or talking about it?
I remember us talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's. All right.
I'm-
That is another option, but it is an expensive option.
Yeah, except it's gonna save us a ton of work. The only problem that we have is manpower. Do we have the manpower to do this?
I want to suggest that we will want to hire someone on an hourly basis to enter data and to coordinate it. Basically, that's what I think we need. But when we do meet with this person in like 2 weeks or maybe it's 3 weeks to the first week of October, we'll have a sort of a plan and a vision for how to do it, and then we can assess whether we want to hire somebody. But I do not believe the Water Commission can do that. It's going to be a lot of hours for somebody.
It's
And
gonna
I
be a
think
lot of dedication, yeah.
a temporary employee to organize that database. But even so, it would not cost as much as what 120 Water has laid out. This would be minuscule compared to that cost. Does anybody want to comment on that? I mean, we never really officially said what we wanted to do, but that's partly because we don't have this other plan. We don't have, well, with the vendor said that they would do it for a certain price, and then rural RCAP, whatever, RCAP will also help us do it. They're not charging us, and they'll help us develop a plan. And then we can see how much work it is and see if we could handle it in a less expensive way. That's actually what I suggest. Why don't we wait till we meet with this person and see how it all looks and what we'll have to do to get it done.
Well, we have a little time before it gets scary, so.
Yeah, that's right, we do. Probably not a whole lot of time. We do need to make, but still, we do have a little time.
We have a little time to think.
All the public utilities in the state are in the same boat.
Yeah, I just don't see everybody getting to I mean, God bless everybody that does, but I just don't see everybody making this deadline. You know, I mean, it's
I mean, 124.
either if you don't have the money for 120 Water. I mean, a lot of these systems probably don't.
But you know what? Some systems have records. That's another thing we're missing. Although
Yeah,
not-
but they don't. But they wouldn't have kept records of what's in the house and what's in the not as thorough as what they're wanting. You know.
Are there any records of service lines of what they're made of? You know? It's not. Okay. Well, and as I understand it, we only have to deal with residences. There's residential, we do not have to do it with the businesses. No, so no businesses, no government. This is no commercial, no government, it's just residential houses, which there's about 780, something like that. And still a lot. Okay, are we ready to move on? Anybody have any other comments? Okay. So the Elk Run project, actually, Chris, you already gave us an update on that. It's that they're gonna do the second tie-in tomorrow, and so maybe we will be using that pipe starting tomorrow. Public Works Administrator, we've interviewed several people, and We have narrowed it down to 3 candidates and we will have a second set of interviews. Maybe next week. I'm not really sure of the timing. But it's still coming along, you know. They are still in the process.
Somebody with vision.
Well. That's one way to look at it. Okay, oversight of meters, meter list
Meter list, meter list, meter list.
and testing and calibration of large meters. Well, I want to report that, because Donnie and I went out to check, the pipes at the meter at a certain property that I don't want to say exactly which property this was because we don't talk about that in a meeting like this. We had to, he was looking and noticed that in that meter box, he found what type of pipes were on both sides of the meter, which we had to do for the sampling plan. And we put that in the sample. But we also took a measure of it. That is, we wrote down the meter reading and checked it a few days later. And we basically found, we found that in this apartment complex, they're using about 550 gallons per apartment
Per month?
in a month, in 1 month. 550 gallons per apartment in a month.
That would, I mean, being efficiency apartments, I'm not saying, I thought it'd be more like 1,000 gallons per month, to be honest with you.
Well,
But
so maybe it could be low, or what do you guys, do you have an opinion about?
Well, I guess it depends on if it's 4 people in the apartment or 1.
Right.
yeah, I thought these places were more like single households, but I could be wrong.
Oh, I don't know, but I don't know myself either. But if it is, on the other hand, if it is low though, Tom Hall mentioned to me that Berkeley Utility can come in for a fee, can come and test and calibrate a 3-inch meter.
I mean, the place I just, okay, cool.
Have you heard that before? I didn't know.
I knew they had the capability, that they had the testing capability, but I didn't realize that they were actually bringing their services outside of their own business or their own. I didn't think they did it for other people. Is what I'm saying.
They did it for Tom when he worked at a different utility, because he was talking about it. And then there's something else, Donnie, you mentioned that if we were to replace that meter, we don't have to replace the whole thing. What do you do?
Well, the meter is set up so you can take the guts or the turbine out itself.
Yeah.
leave it in place and then just replace the turbine itself, which will bring it back to, I think it's 99.1% accurate.
Yeah, the only thing, and we've done that with probably, I would say 4 or 5 meters now, that we've replaced the guts, just like you said. It's pretty easy. There's like 6 bolts around the sides, and you just pull it out and put it back in. The only problem with that is the turbine meter only starts registering water at 3 gallons per minute.
That's hard to
So
believe.
it's not picking up anything under 3 gallons from at least that's
hard to believe, Chris. I can't.
I'm just telling you what the vendors said, but maybe they were just trying to sell their product.
Right.
I will say this, I've changed out turbine meters before, thinking that I was going to have good results, and the reading has been the same. I did it at the water plant, and I did it at another customer. I won't state that. But I thought the results were going to be different, and they weren't. But that's not saying that they may not be different for the.
How much does it cost to replace the middle of the turbine of one of those meters?
About $1,000.
$1,000?
Yeah, and it's like 2,500 to replace the whole meter for the 25 to 3,500 to replace the whole shebang, the large meter. I don't know why I'm having a hard time. The casing and like the one I was looking at was an ultrasonic. So it actually, it listens, it can get down to 0.001 gallons per minute, which is like really low.
Well, let me just say that since we're supposed to calibrate them once a year and it's overdue, it seems like we should either calibrate it or replace it.
I would highly recommend replacing them. I think they're because they're obviously running slow, but at least this is what I've been planning to do with the two apartment meters is to put this a new improved meter, if not that, a compound meter, which it also reads more accurate. But anything but a turbine meter. A turbine meter is designed for high volume of water. It's not designed to pick up low volume of water. That's what I've been told by people in the meter business. And it's been more than one company. It's been all of them.
Well, a combination meter.
A compound meter reads high volume and low volume.
Right, because we have some of those at the park, national park.
And you have one at the sewer department, and so that one would pick up your low percentage or your low volume, and then it would pick up your high volume as well.
How much does that one of those cost?
The same amount, 2,500, 3,500 for a 3-inch meter. And I'm just going with a ballpark. I can get more. I mean, I can make phone calls and get exact numbers if we decide to go for that. But I don't think I believe the radio read meter, the ultrasonic is going to be a little bit higher, but not by much. Only because you're dealing with metal, you know, they all have the same amount of, you know.
I see.
Yeah.
Let me
But
ask
when you get in the large ones, you can't use the plastic. You have to use the.
I just want to ask Donnie, when you were dealing with these large meters, did you calibrate them on a regular basis, or how did you deal with that?
No, they were never calibrated. The technology wasn't around back then. You know, if
You just take it out of the box and cook it up.
yeah. That makes sense. But Chris, I'd like to ask you, these newer meters, how are they powered? Are they battery powered? Or?
Yeah. So the sorry. For example, the one from Comstruct, it's one of the radio read meters. The only reason I'd like to go with them is not only are they more accurate, but if we do go to radio read, we have one less in the ground that we have to put in.
I don't think we should be mentioning brands in our meeting, okay?
Okay, that's fine. But I was going to bring up, there's countless other meters as well that I've looked at 6 vendors, and there's more, but I've and they all have good products. Just some I like more only because they were more cost efficient and more accurate.
Did that answer your question?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, well, I just think this is something we gotta keep in mind if we're losing revenue, not just for us, but also for the PSD, that we probably need to do something about this meter. Either,
Oh.
you know,
Yeah, I was hoping to really work on, like, I can't even get to my test bench right now because of construction. But we're gonna need to be testing a lot of meters coming shortly.
we can't test that meter. We don't have the certification to test it, right?
I do.
You
I
have-
can't I can't test the large meters, but I can test all the small meters. I can test inch and residential meters, 3/4 inch.
So this 3-inch meter, we still need to do something about it, and we cannot do it ourselves.
Oh, we can't test all the large meters, but also all the residential meters need to be tested as well. Is what all 800 of them.
I'm just saying that this one meter that I'm talking about, that we've been saying it sounds low, because just looking at the number of gallons per month per apartment,
Yeah.
this particular meter, we do need to do something about it. And if we
Yeah, well, and like I said, I've been working on it for a little while, and I don't. I mean, I understand where Donnie's coming from. Maybe he's right. Maybe it picks up more than that. But all the research that I've done is telling me that a turbine meter is not the right meter in the ground for resident or for a residential setup like the apartments are. That it should be a compound meter or something of that sort.
Okay. Well,
But
Yeah, we realize
you know,
now-
there's different rooms for argument on that one too. I mean, I'm sure he's seen some stuff too. So
I think just that we gotta keep this in mind. Of course, at the plant, we're training, we finishing up at front. And it's not the right time, but very soon, this will be past us and we can get back to doing some of the regular stuff like this. Would you agree?
I would agree, and I would love to work with Donnie on doing some research and developing and seeing what we can come up with. I would love to help.
Well, moving on, I just want to mention that Alvarez has mentioned to me that they don't think the spring water is reaching the plant.
Well,
And
that's funny because I was told the other day that by Alvarez that the meter was on or the valve was on.
Yeah, but
but-
the valve being on does not mean that the spring water is reaching the meter.
You're absolutely right. I was going to bring that up to you. As a matter of fact, they told me that the valve was on, but they didn't say. So you may be very that may be true. It may not be reaching the spring house.
You know, we really want this spring water. I mean, it's at one time, Donnie was telling me that Pepsi wanted to bottle it and sell it as spring water at some point.
I've heard that too. The only reason that they didn't use us was because we didn't have the quantity. They needed more water, right, Donnie?
Yes,
So, I mean, it's valuable and it's considered one of our sources and it's a jewel to us and we don't want to, you know, so I did email our engineer and ask him, can you please check into this because we want the spring water to be coming in. you know, that our water is made up of not only Elk Run surface water, but also the spring water. And he said he'll be in town next week, which I guess is for the site, for the water progress meeting, and that he would make a site visit.
See, yeah, I never heard what you said about the not actually reaching, but there's so many things going on down there right now with all the different projects that
Eli mentioned that to me, so if you ask Eli, he'll tell you.
yeah, it depends. If you don't like the answer you're getting, you just ask the next guy, because we got a lot of information passing back and forth right now.
Okay. All right, well, that's almost the end. Our next meeting is October the 21st. Any other matter anyone wants to bring up? Okay, well, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So.
All right. One second,
What does,
so you would.
I second.
Yeah, all right, any discussion? Let's, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. We finished in 57 minutes.
I wanted to ask.
Good job.
So you-
Night.